Move on to the next segment, part 2, of how Trump is destroying the environment. In this video, we're going to cover two categories, which would be, drilling and extraction, and infrastructure and planning. That's what's up next. So, to begin, Trump made significant cuts to the borders of 2 national monuments in Utah and recommended border and resource management changes to several more. Trump rescinded water pollution regulations for fracking on federal and Indian lands. Do we remember the North Dakota Access Pipeline? I was very disappointed with how Obama handled that. It was at the end of his term, when presidents often make pardons and do things that would be detrimental to their political career, but since it's the end of their second term, they do it anyway. And this really showed the corruption of Obama, and everyone wants to make Obama out to be like some sort of saint. And this is one example of many, potentially a future video, on why Obama was not the greatest president we ever had, because that's what the media likes to say and think. Trump scrapped a proposed rule that required mines to provide they could pay to clean up future pollution. So Trump would let people come in, fuck up the environment, destroy the land, and then not pay cleanup. That money should be set aside before they even start the operation. And yet it's the counter opposite. It shouldn't be that way. Trump withdrew a requirement that Gulf oil rig owners prove they could cover the cost of removing rigs once they have stopped producing. Which I already said. Delete that. Trump approved construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. Oh, speak of the devil. Less than a mile from the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation. Under the Obama administration, the Army Corps of Engineers had said it would explore alternative routes, which they did not, which goes back to me saying I was disappointed in Barack Obama over this issue. Trump revoked an Obama-era executive order designed to preserve ocean, coastal, and Great Lakes waters in favor of a policy focused on energy production and economic growth. So, preserving the ocean and natural bodies of fresh water was something Obama had done, which I congratulate him for. And but Trump, being the man-child he is, wants to revoke it because Obama's name is somehow attached to it. He created it, right? So this is where we are. This is a common theme that you will see, and already have seen, that replays itself. Trump did change how the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission considers the indirect effects of greenhouse gas emissions in environmental reviews of pipelines. So they are directly affecting these things in the environment by the lax legislative changes they're making. Not only that, they're ignoring the indirect negatives that come from these regulations that are being revoked. So the full board is being ignored here. In total, this is just being pushed to the back burner until the next generation is either to fix it or die in a human extinction event. And it's just because they want money in their pockets. That's what it comes down to. The value of your life does not matter. That's why arguments about abortion or socialist programs like food stamps and Medicaid and retirement and unemployment, these things are so hypocritical and stupid to discuss, because we're talking about something that could result in human extinction, and yet they ignore it blatantly. Blatantly. Okay, so don't be fooled. Never be fooled. Trump permitted the use of seismic air guns for gas and oil exploration in the Atlantic Ocean. The practice, which can kill marine life and disrupt fisheries, was blocked under the Obama administration. Seismic air guns, just spreading this pollution all through the ocean. It's affecting and killing marine life. They have very sensitive hearing underwater. It's bad for the environment, and yet that's just one more thing. One more thing. Lifted the ban on drilling in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. So now we're going to mess up a bunch of glaciers that are going to melt and then pollute the rest of the planet when climate change actually happens. This is one that will affect the entire planet directly. Because if we pollute the ice caps and then they melt, where do you think that oil is going to come? It's going to come to us. And it's going to kill all our wildlife. There's going to be starvation. Crops won't grow. This is going to be very bad. And nobody wants to logically discuss it like I'm doing right now. And it's infuriating. Trump loosened offshore drilling safety regulations implemented by the Obama administration following the 2010 Deepwater Horizon explosion and oil spill, including reduced testing requirements for blowout prevention systems. So Trump's like, well, will it save a few bucks? Okay, let's cut that. Fuck safety, let's cut that. It's going to cost us a few $1,000s. Somehow he's probably pocketing it. I don't know, through a sham corporation or a donation from an oil lobbyist. But the things he's doing is beneficial to himself, which should realistically be involved in the impeachment proceedings going on right now, but they're not. So that concludes drilling and extraction. Part 2 of Part 2 is going on to infrastructure and planning. So to begin right away, Trump revoked Obama-era flood standards for federal infrastructure projects, like roads and bridges. The standards required the government to account for sea level rise and other climate change effects. So since he has to deny climate change to appeal to his base, he is going to then revoke standards and regulations that deal with climate change, because it makes him look hypocritical. The hypocrite cannot be seen as hypocritical to his base, because they only listen to the one-track mind. Trump relaxed the environmental review process for federal infrastructure projects. Yeah, infrastructure is important, but it needs to be done the right way. We can't pollute the waters. We can't do something to benefit infrastructure while at the same time destroying the environment. We have to have a balance, and Trump is destroying that. Trump revoked a directive for federal agencies to minimize impacts on water, wildlife, land, and other natural resources when approving development projects. So once again, fuck the wildlife. Is there an endangered species in this area that's about to be turned into some development program? Well, fuck it. No. How many CSI episodes or cop shows have we seen where they halt progress on a building because there's endangered wildlife? That cliche will no longer exist because Trump just did this shit. Trump revoked an Obama executive order promoting climate resilience in the northern Bering Sea region of Alaska, which withdrew local waters from oil and gas leasing and established a tribal advisory council to consult on local environment issues. So now the communities impacted don't even have a chance to voice their opinions. He's stifling it just to get it in law, to get it passed. Trump reversed an update to the Bureau of Land Management's public land use planning process. He withdrew an Obama-era order to consider climate change in managing natural resources and national parks. So basically, Trump's like, oh, is there a natural resource in a federally protected land? Well, now that I've done this, we can just go in there willy-nilly and destroy the environment to extract things that are economically viable. That is disgusting and greedy and corrupt. But that's who we have as president. Trump restricted most Interior Department environmental studies to 1 year in length and a maximum of 150 pages, citing a need to reduce paperwork. Reducing paperwork. With all the paperwork the government is responsible for, this was the topic that needed to have reduced paperwork. When it comes to environmental protection, we're supposed to be stifled because you want to reduce paperwork. First off, isn't this a digital age? Why do we need paperwork to begin with? But even if we do, why does this topic need to be the one that is used to reduce paperwork? Fuck you. This is blatantly like you just being you, Drumpf. Come on. Come on. Withdrew a number of Obama-era Interior Department climate change and conservation policies that the agency said could burden the development of utilization of domestically produced energy resources. So once again, disguising protecting the environment because it's burdening the government. Like Trump costing millions or billions of dollars by ripping off cities by holding rallies or going on multiple golf excursions and using Air Force One jets and Secret Service and costing taxpayers billions of dollars. That's not burdening the government, but this is. Okay. He eliminated the use of an Obama-era planning system designed to minimize harm from oil and gas activity on sensitive landscapes such as national parks. Once again, fuck the parks, fuck the animals. Let's just get the money, cash out, and leave. Let the next generation deal with it. You're disgusting. Trump eased the environmental review processes for small wireless infrastructure projects with the goal of expanding 5G wireless networks. From what I understand, 5G is kind of unknown. It's kind of dangerous. It's causing people to, get sick or die, from my knowledge. If I'm wrong, correct me. But just another example of how Trump is more interested in income and profit, because chances are lobbyists donating to his campaign are involved with these 5G wireless networks. And finally, number 55 of this subcategory, Trump withdrew Obama-era policies designed to maintain or ideally improve natural resources affected by federal projects. What do we do here? This is part 2. There's more to come. How much more do I need to talk about? And I'm just one lonely peasant of 8 billion people on one of quintillions of planets. What does my voice serve? It serves nothing. But with this information so readily available, how is this allowed to continue? How do we stop it? Does every single person need to make videos like I am? Is that the only way? I know grassroots is how things get done, but is this what it takes? I don't think the voices of the population is enough. Money overrides that. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and there is no going back. 2020 cannot end soon enough. And by the way, I endorse Bernie Sanders. Not that my endorsement means much, but by God, let that man get into office. And I like the Yang Gang. Yeah, what's up, Yang? But anyway, on to part 3. See you soon.